of timcast.com and host of the Culture War podcast. You can see that over at his YouTube channel. Tim, thanks for joining the show. Great to talk to you.
Thanks for having me.
So there are two big stories that you are currently involved in. One wasn't enough for you. One of them is, of course, the very widely covered story about a DOJ indictment involving apparently Tenet Media. Tenet Media, according to the allegations, was being paid effectively by a Russian front. And when I say the company was, what I really mean is the founders of the company apparently were, if the allegations in the indictment are true. All the media ran with was that because you are a host whose show is posted at Tenet Media, that this must have implicated you or Dave Rubin or Benny Johnson. Why don't you give us sort of the rundown of what's going on here?
Yeah, the simple version is the Culture War podcast existed well before Tenet Media or any licensing agreement. We had the show. So I've got multiple YouTube channels. One is youtube.com/timcast. That was my original channel where I used to host a 4 p.m., half an hour podcast. We switched formats because I have a couple channels. One was redundant. I have another one that's basically the same thing. They're kind of redundant. So we turned this one into a Friday morning live show about cultural issues. So it's politics doesn't, come in relatively often, but,
Yeah, it's just culture. What does politics have to do with culture, right? Also, it's a totally separate company, not even close to related.
We did one on dating. We did an episode on simulation theory versus Christianity and religion. So it's not an overtly political show. That show was licensed for principal broadcast, non-exclusive to Tenet Media. That's it. The show exists still to this day, and it will be at youtube.com/timcast on, Fridays. So with this story, we're hearing that these allegations, it's kind of crazy. I mean, Lauren Chen, I guess she's been fired from the Blaze. I don't know a lot about what's going on. In fact, I think I only talked to her a couple times this year. For me, we had an existing show that a new show we had launched, had been up for a few months. We hosted people like Vivek Ramaswamy on it. And we were preparing to engage in sponsorships, and they were getting hundreds of thousands of views per episode. And we decided to license it out because Lauren contacted us and was saying, we'd love to license something from you. And I said, well, we don't need to do that. We're an independent company. We have our own members and sponsorships. And then it took quite a while. But long story short, we agreed to a non-exclusive broadcast license, which meant that we own the show. The show is owned by the Culture War company, which is its own company. We own distribution rights. We own audio distribution rights, everything about it. They just effectively paid for a license, which would have it appear on their YouTube channel Friday mornings at 10 a.m. And with that, they got to use my likeness and things like that. And so now with these allegations, I don't know what's going on there, but I don't know if you want to ask any questions so we can elaborate.
Yeah, I mean, I think the only questions that, given the media coverage, I think the question.
If Tim isn't a hack fuck, and if Ben isn't a hack fuck, you should ask him, will you release the contract? Show us the contract.
That people in the media are pushing, at least, is the idea that there must have been some sort of outside external Russian control of your show. Maybe you want to address how you do the editorial at your show. Was Lauren ever talking to you about the editorial content of the show or anything like that?
Nope. So I barely even talked to Lauren. And it's kind of crazy. I've known her for a long time. So when she said that she was launching a company, she had investors, I'm like, okay. I mean, I hear that 50 times a year. And in the podcast space, we just heard that I think Travis Kelce is getting a $100 million contract. So these numbers that's where they're at. I think people don't realize how big the podcasting space is and the revenue.
I think you're not him, bro. You're not him, bro.
Generate from sponsorships and memberships. So it seemed kind of, I don't know, mundane to a certain extent. A lot of people think these numbers are huge. But yeah, so I don't know. Ask me again. I'm losing my train of thought.
Yeah, no. I mean, the only question was basically whether you were in control of the editorial, and it sounds like you were. So,
I mean, the Culture War show is a conversation show on various topics. The subject matter of the show editorially is there's no thought into it. We had been talking about hosting a show on religious debate and simulation theory and AI. So I talked to my booking agent and said, can we find a guy who talks about AI and simulation and then do a 2-hour conversation? That's the gist of it. That's how the show is produced.
It's interesting that he didn't directly refute that question here. I would have expected him to say that. No, we did not take any content direction whatsoever from that would be the answer you would give. Like, what was the editorial control like? We maintained full editorial control, start to finish, of everything that we broadcasted. We took no content direction from Lauren Chen and her husband, from any of the producers, from nobody else involved. That's the answer I would have expected here. But
AI. So I talked to my booking agent and said, can we find a guy who talks about AI and simulation and then do a 2-hour conversation? That's the gist of it. That's how the show was produced. The first episode that actually appeared on Tenet was about skateboarding. Quite literally, we had a professional skateboard filmer, an amateur and a professional skateboarder, and we talked about skateboarding because I'm a skateboarder. That's what we do. So, I mean, it's kind of crazy to hear that they're saying the media's jumped the gun completely on what the story is. The DOJ indictment literally says that commentators were deceived, that there was a rather sophisticated plan to manipulate the commentators of the platform so that they wouldn't know what was going on. And I can say on my end, everything that happens here goes through our legal team, and we have multiple lawyers. So when someone reaches out to me and says, "Hey, we want to do a potential," like we have sponsorships, and I don't know who these companies are, and we're a company with like 40 employees, and so when someone reaches out to us, I say, "Great, cool, someone handle it and talk to the lawyers." The lawyers come back, do their due diligence, and then we say, "Sure," or whatever. And so the crazy thing is, this was so ancillary to anything we do. I do my morning show from 10 to noon now. At the time, it wasn't live, but now it's live. And then we do Timcast IRL from 8 p.m. to 11 p.m. And so I don't really think much at all about where the show is streaming or distribution. For all I knew, this was, Lauren Chen. She works at The Blaze. She wanted to start a company. She found investors. That was seemingly the gist of it. We only ever took money from an American corporation. The amount of money that we were offered for the show was around market value for offers we had already received. And so it was just like, cool, I know Lauren, sure, whatever. And then you got Benny and Dave and Matt Christensen and Taylor Hansen, who I know them all. And I'm like, yeah, this seems fine, whatever. And the crazy thing is, assuming all this stuff is true, I'm like, man, this sucks. We didn't need the deal. The deal didn't do anything for us. It was just, sure, I guess. And the bummer is, now with the way things are,
it was just a cool $5 million. Just a cool $5 million.
Going. We could have just run the culture war on my channel with 1.3 million subscribers as it is, and just made money.
Don't even pretend like you could have made that much money on your own channel running this fucking show.
On my channel with 1.3 million subscribers as it is, and just made money on our own through sponsorships as we already did. So it's frustrating to get entangled in whatever it is she's accused of being involved in.
Yeah, and it must be frustrating also. I mean, listen, you and I disagree, I think, on some of the elements.
Way above market value.
Around the Ukraine war, but the idea that's been put forth by the media is that somehow you were being paid directly by Vladimir Putin in order to express those views, and that therefore anybody who disagrees with sort of the democratic take or even the sort of moderate Republican take on this must be paid by Russia. That, of course, is an absurdity, and I think it is wrapped into a broader narrative that seems to be ramping up just in time for the election, which is that Russia's going to interfere in the election on behalf of Donald Trump, and that everybody on the right is in some form or fashion working for the Russians, which is why they're for Donald Trump in the first.
You think there's any chance Shapiro's compromised? I just think Shapiro's a partisan hack fuck.
First place.
Yeah, here we go again. I mean, my views probably align more with the Libertarian Party. That's it.
Yeah. As I deep throat Trump, as I fillet him literally every single fucking episode. Okay, dude.
Russia sucks. I'm not a fan of Russia. I think Vladimir Putin is a dictator who's used unethical and dictatorial means to maintain power for decades. And I've long said that. My principal point is, my opposition to the war is that we are spending hundreds of billions of dollars at a time when we're dealing with infrastructure problems, we're dealing with border problems, and
hit all those key talking points. Good job.
Now with the clip they're circulating right now is my exasperation and outrage to hear that with U.S. resources, not weapons, but with training and things of this matter, Ukraine's invaded Russian territory, pushing us to the brink of large-scale international conflict, which terrifies me. And so that pisses me off. That being said, Russia should never have invaded Ukraine. Russia was wrong to do it. They lost the soft power battle, and they're resorting to desperate tactics to do it. And then we find ourselves entrenched in some conflict because of Ukraine. They're posting these things.
Because of Ukraine? Okay.
About, I remember I went out with you guys. I supported Ron DeSantis early on, 21 or in 2022, until things started to shift. I felt like Ron wasn't going to be able to win. Now they're acting like that was all of a sudden I got paid to change my opinions. And this is the unfortunate thing. The ultimate smear is the revenue that we were paid through the licensing deal was inconsequential to my lifestyle, to the bottom line of the company. And we've actually never done anything with it.
Seriously doubt that. Post it. Post your revenue. Let's see it.
I would say, like, the overwhelming majority of the money is just not gone anywhere. And then, we have people tweeting at me like, give the money back or whatever it is. Like, dude, let me put it this way. We're talking to our legal team. I can say that I just announced I've been contacted by the FBI as a victim of a potential victim in a crime. They have stated that.
Good correction there, from victim to potential victim. Okay.
I may have information relevant to their ongoing investigation and requested a voluntary interview. So, engaging with counsel, we are going to provide information relevant to their ongoing investigation and requested a voluntary interview. So, engaging with counsel, we are going to provide, assistance in whatever we can. And that's about it. I mean, it's they say it's like an arm's length deal. That's what it's always referred to. And I'm like, man, I don't even know what that means. I know that we had a show that already existed that talks about video games, dating, culture, some political issues. We had an Israel-Palestine debate, and we licensed it for publication, non-exclusive. Like, that's the crazy thing. It's like, it was not even an exclusive show. It's non-exclusive. We published it other places. We own the rights for all of it. And so now we get entrenched in whatever this is. And I'm just like, nah, I don't have anything to do with this. I don't know what it is Lauren Chen was doing. I'm quite perturbed by the allegations. I don't know what'll turn out to be true, but, I'm pissed.
So that's one story involving you. The other one is that you are suing Kamala Harris. The Kamala Harris campaign put out a...
Why would he even talk to the FBI? Why would he talk to Biden's Justice Department, right? If it's a voluntary request, why is he even talking to them? I thought he didn't trust them. I thought, isn't he worried about political prosecution? Couldn't this be... Don't they all think this Russian stuff is a hoax anyway? Why even fucking talk to them? Why not just say, kick rocks, eat shit, fuck you?
A tweet that it really is an absurd tweet. I mean, they put out a tweet effectively saying that you were calling for violence, or that you were saying that Trump should actually arrest people or execute people based on whim. If you watch the clip that's posted, that's 100% not what you are saying. In fact, what you are saying is that if there are people who are guilty of crimes, then Trump should use his DOJ to go after those people. And then Laura Loomer, who was on your show, suggested that maybe if they're guilty of treason.
If people are guilty of crimes, Trump should use the DOJ to go after them. Harvard? Is that where this fucking dipshit got his bullshit? Did he even... I would say did he even pass the bar, but graduating from Harvard would be more impressive. Come on, what do you mean? You should only investigate people that are guilty? What does that sentence even mean?
Are guilty of crimes, then whim. If you're actively saying that you were calling for violence, or that you were saying that Trump should actually arrest people or execute people based on whim. If you watch the clip that's posted, that is 100% not what you are saying. In fact, what you are saying is that if there are people who are guilty of crimes, then Trump should use his DOJ to go after those people. And then Laura Loomer, who was on your show, suggested that maybe if they're guilty of treason, they should be executed. But even with that statement, the presumption would be that there'd be some sort of judicial process. And I think that it's a pretty large stretch of the imagination to think that we're going to get to the point where people are tried for treason in the United States and then executed. It's been a little while since we've done that in any case. But that's not what the Kamala Harris tweet said. The Kamala Harris tweet suggested that you believe that basically Donald Trump should be given dictatorial power to kill his enemies.
Right. So it hit a bunch of points. It said I was a...
Kamala Harris. What was her tweet exactly? Kamala Harris, Tim Cast, Tim Pool, Twitter. Fuck. Does anybody have that tweet?
Trump operative, which I don't know. I'm implying I'm paid. It's not true. It said their Project 2025 plan. I have nothing.
Well, hold on. Careful.
I don't know. I'm
implying you're paid. It's not true. You have no idea. Apparently, you have no fucking idea where any of your money comes from. You're totally fucking clueless, right? So don't say you're not paid. You have no idea. You don't know who the fuck pays you, little bro. I don't know why you're pretending now. So you did know? You knew before that you weren't? You knew where it was coming? Why would you even say this?
implying I'm paid. It's not true. It said their Project 2025 plan. I have nothing to do with Project 2025. And then it said that we are calling for Trump to have unchecked legal authority to jail and execute anyone who won't support him when he wins or if he wins or whatever, which is crazy because I oppose the death penalty. I am adamantly opposed to the death penalty. And the actual clip, they cut it short. But the actual full context was the Federalist Sean Davis had made a statement that day.
Their tweet was, Trump operatives say their Project 2025 plan is to give Trump total unchecked legal power so they can jail and execute those who don't support Trump if he wins. And then this is the clip that I played for this.
Or the day prior, that he wants to see a list of Democrats who are going to be criminally charged when Trump gets elected. My point was kind of walking that back. Like, we don't want to come out and just say, go arrest Democrats. The point in the full context of the conversation is, are there some, like, I'll put it this way. When he says he wants a list of Democrats, my point is this. Are there some Democrats?
When you were a libertarian, did they have anti-establishment takes over things like vaccines and foreign policy? Yes, way back in the day. But there is a huge, huge, huge difference. There is a huge difference, okay? When somebody says they're a libertarian today, and that's why they oppose the vaccines, them being a libertarian has nothing to do with them opposing the vaccines. They just don't trust any medicine because they're fucking retarded, right? A libertarian from 15 years ago would have given you the same position. They would have said the government absolutely should never be able to compel you to take this is against, like, you know, your individual freedoms. But then they would say, but you're fucking retarded if you don't get vaccinated. Like, even on Penn and Teller's bullshit, I think pretty sure they did a whole ass episode on, I think, I think they had an episode on this, on like season 2 or something.
Hi, I'm Penn, and this is my, I'll use their words.
And I think Penn was probably one of the more popular mainstream, like, libertarian-ish people at the time.
13.
So, like, my guess is going to be, if you would ask him at the time, should the government compel vaccines? My guess is he would say no as a libertarian, but they would say that, like, for the principled stance of small government or not infringing on rights or not aggression, whereas we can't force people to do things at gunpoint or whatever. But the libertarians of today just don't trust anything, so they'll pretend or they'll pander or they'll grift on libertarians, like, oh yeah, blah blah blah. But they don't actually, they just don't trust or whatever, or they don't trust medicine, or they're just fucking retarded. Pretty sure they were even against like recycling and shit back then, but yeah.
Democrats who should be criminally charged? Yes, because they committed crimes. I am not saying Democrat voters. I am not saying.
Oh, where's the black guy laptop meme? Oh, you charge people who commit crimes. Oh shit, I didn't realize. Oh my god.
My point is this. Are there some Democrats who should be criminally charged? Yes, because they committed crimes. I am not saying Democrat voters. I am not saying all Democrats. I am saying certainly there are people aligned with the Democratic Party. I believe that there's that lawyer who was criminally charged over the Carter Page incident. These people exist. Donald Trump will need an AG, a Deputy Attorney General, and head of the FBI who are going to launch investigations, get real evidence of these crimes, have warrants. There will be trials in front of the world to prove the crimes they committed, and then they can be sentenced. My point is it's not a point of origin for me to say, hey, Trump, go arrest these people. Not at all. My point was, hey, you're calling for the arrest, but we have to make sure if that's the case, these people are actually guilty of crimes, they've actually faced trial. And then to go on to claim that I would call for the execution of people who wouldn't support Trump, I don't believe there is anything more extreme you could accuse a person of doing, saying, or of views they held. That is the epitome of extreme statement. To claim that I was advocating for what is tantamount to genocide is an extreme lie, and that's why we're taking immediate action, and I engaged my legal.
Damn, did they say tantamount to genocide? Where is he getting all this from? From that one tweet? Where are they getting tantamount to genocide from? Jesus.
Team and said we're going forward with it, so we're in the preparation phase, but we're moving quickly.
So, Tim, what remedy are you seeking from the Kamala Harris campaign? I assume, obviously, a takedown of the tweet, but what else?
Well, we're not there yet. My lawyers are driving the argument, so I think it's premature for me to say all of exactly what the remedy is going to be, and I have to confer with my lawyers on that. But I don't know how much I can say considering my lawyers are currently working on it. But we are going over paperwork, and once we have something finalized and it's filed, then everyone will know exactly what we're saying beyond.
I mean, if it's already happened, like, nothing's coming from this, by the way.
On the, hey, you can't accuse someone of these things. This is crazy.
Well, Tim, really appreciate taking the time. I know that things are very, very busy over there. And,
they're not going to file shit. Yeah, no shit. Because this is like the most obvious fucking, probably First Amendment protected speech. Like, what are you even suing for here? Like, Jesus Christ. Like, if Tim could hold anybody liable for this statement, he would be sued out of existence. There wouldn't be enough Russian money to save this fucking dipshit.
Honestly, the media coverage of all of this is quite absurd when it comes to you. So, I feel for you, my friend.
I appreciate it. Thanks for having me.
All right, guys, coming up, we'll be getting into Hunter Biden's surprise guilty plea. If you're not a member, become a member. Use code Shapiro.
How cucked that Ben Shapiro, after Tim Pool supported Crowder in his bullshit allegations against the Daily Wire, now Ben Shapiro is aligning with Tim Pool here because they're so desperate that they're going to lose their Trump daddy ticket. Ugh.